What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Good morning. Goat doing goatish things again.
You know, I tell you this all the time on this show, but LeBron James is the most interesting man in the world. He cannot ever play just some routine, forgettable game on some Monday night.
No.
It's
February
always
1st.
We're into February. Yeah. It's always some crazy subplot, and it can't get much crazier than it just got last night.
Because I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. I'm like, why they pausing the game?
Yeah, they're finally wrapping up their road trip. They get to go home, but there was some drama, to say the least, surrounding the game last night and LeBron. Let's talk about it. The Lakers, they did beat the Hawks 107-99 last night, but the biggest headline from the game was an interaction that LeBron had with a courtside heckler during the fourth quarter that resulted in 4 fans being ejected from the arena. The woman who was seemingly at the center of the incident posted on social media last night that the spat stemmed from a back and forth that LeBron had with her husband during the game. LeBron ended up scoring LA's final 9 points to seal the victory, and he spoke to reporters about the incident afterward.
I'm happy fans are back in the building. I miss that interaction. I need that interaction. We as players need that interaction. I don't feel like it was warranted to be kicked out. There was a back and forth between two grown men, and we said our piece. He said his piece. I said my piece, and then when someone else jumped into it and said their piece. But I didn't think they were. Should have been kicked out. But they might have had a couple of drinks maybe, and they could have probably kept it going, and the game wouldn't have been about the game no more. So I think the referees did what they had to do.
Shannon, should they have been ejected?
Yes, and LeBron touched on it at the end, Skip. It was escalating. She wasn't going to calm down, and that happens sometimes. I do believe alcohol might have played a factor in this. And as LeBron said, she was going to keep it going, and it was no longer going to be about the basketball game. And just about every time LeBron come back down the court, the referees were going to have to stop the game and ask her, ma'am, can you sit down? Ma'am, can you stay? And so it was just best because it had started to escalate. Now, Skip, she mentioned she doesn't have a problem with LeBron. Her husband has the problem with LeBron. An issue with LeBron. Mm-hmm. So he started it. LeBron didn't even know. LeBron has no idea who this guy is. He just knew somebody started talking, and, obviously with only 1,800 people in the building, Skip, you could hear everything. It's not like it's 20,000. And even if it was 20,000, Skip, people on the front row, you can hear them talking. So I believe the officials handled it correctly because she was highly agitated. She wasn't going to de-escalate the situation. She was only going to heighten the situation. So the referees because Skip, they gave her every opportunity to, ma'am, sit down. They gave her opportunity after opportunity where she just kept going, kept pointing, and you can see by her comments on IG after the game.
No, she kept videotaping.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You're right. Oh, yes. She got to get it in 15 minutes.
Yes,
she probably got a couple extra 1,000 IG followers. But she wasn't going to let it go. Mm-hmm. And so in that situation, I think the officials handled it correctly by just saying, look, ma'am, just go ahead and leave. I don't know if they had the mask on the entire time, but she was pulling her mask down.
She definitely did. She pulled hers down around her neck.
Yes.
So that was a big problem. Maybe the biggest problem.
And because what she did, Skip, is that she tried to upend what GOAT James, the closer, did. Because you remember yesterday, who's going to close?
Yeah.
Well, you got your answer yesterday.
Oh, did I?
The final 9, 12 points in the quarter. We closed it. Hit a 3, hit a layup, and here folks give you somebody. He worried about going to the free throw line. If you don't mind me asking, can you answer this one question for me before I turn it over to you? How was he in the fourth quarter with them free throws?
Well, with the game really not on the line, when it's completely out of reach, he can make those free throws when they're not pressure free throws.
It's like a kid it's like a parent with a child. If I put it way up on the counter, I know you can't reach it. So who put it way up there so Trae Young them couldn't do it? GOAT did that.
Okay, I'll get to all that, the irrelevant part of the night in a moment. But first, to the issue at hand. Okay, for those who don't understand right now or keep up with these tallies, only 9 out of 30 teams are allowing fans in now in the NBA.
Right.
9 out of 30. The Hawks' capacity, pandemic capacity, is the 5th highest because they say that they allow in 1,200. Last night, the announced crowd was 1,341.
Correct.
Okay, so whatever.
8% of capacity.
Okay. Houston is now allowing 25% capacity, just for the record, which is it's a lot. It tells you about the sort of attitudes per city, states, right? And then you got Orlando has a 4,000 capacity. Florida. Miami is 3rd most with 2,000 capacity, and Cleveland is 4th most with 1,944. I don't know where they got that number, but that's their capacity. So number 5 on that list is Atlanta, allowing some fans in last night. 1,341.
Cleveland don't get that when they allow all the fans in there 1,900.
That is possible. Okay, so 1,300 odd fans.
Yeah.
It's more than a sprinkling.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than I got through television. I didn't know there were quite that many people in the building.
I didn't either.
Okay, so the fans in question were 2 by 2 because the 2 women were sitting together, and then across the aisle, the 2 men were sitting together.
Right.
And I have yet to see a picture of her husband because he's completely out of the frame, right?
Yeah.
Because have you seen the husband?
On IG, they got a picture of them together on IG.
Okay. I have not seen him, but he's not in the middle of the action because it picks up when she has decided to join the fray. Okay,
to take over the fray.
Yes, take over the fray. Okay, here's the flashpoint moment that I don't know. I don't know what he said that initially provoked LeBron.
Right.
Because LeBron and everybody involved with the Lakers said that this Chris Carlos, her husband, went out of bounds, was the quote from LeBron. Out of bounds, okay? I don't know what out of bounds is in LeBron's view.
Right.
I didn't want to speculate on what it was, but whatever it was, LeBron said, that's over the line.
Right.
And he fired back at Chris Carlos. And then she got angry. And again, to your point, was there alcohol fueling all this?
Yes.
Possibly, very possibly. And then her description after the game was crazy because she's saying that when LeBron says something to my husband, I see this and I stand up and I go, don't effing talk to my husband. And he looks at me and he goes, this is according to her, sit the F down, B. Whew. Okay. Did he really go there? I don't know. I don't know. Because to me, that's out of bounds on his part.
Skip, what is the likelihood of these NBA players that don't know? Now, I've been courtside and had interaction with guys, but they recognize me. They'll acknowledge me. What's the likelihood of LeBron James acknowledging that guy who he doesn't even know? So that guy had to have said something to LeBron to prompt a response from LeBron.
Okay. Then would he really respond to her that way? Because I doubt it. I'd be shocked that he would go that far with that kind of language unless he was really angered by what the husband had provoked him to.
Skip, I'm not going to say when someone is angry and I'm in a disagreement and I'm arguing back and forth with somebody else chime in.
Then, like, what are you doing sticking your nose in this?
What you got to do with it?
Okay, then obviously she escalates from that point on, and she says that she said, don't effing call me a B. You set the F down. Okay, now we've gone completely over the edge. And to your point, now we got all kinds of security trying to referee it and try to handle it the correct way. And at that point, they say, this is not going to work.
Right.
And they try to just politely escort them out of the arena.
Right.
And it looks like she's still like out in the concourse where she's already going selfie, right?
When it first started, Skip, you can see her, she grabbing her phone because she's about to document this here. Hold on. This is LeBron James. I'm arguing back and forth. This is not somebody in the stands and a regular fan. I'm arguing with LeBron. So she going to record this whole thing, this whole interaction. And as you said, she's walking back through the concourse. She's outside and she still got it going.
Okay. And then LeBron would not let it lay after the game because then he tweeted back at her. Maybe he saw her post. I don't know.
Right.
Or his social media people are obviously on high alert. And so he called her courtside Karen, which is sort of a cliche for women at courtside. Mostly it's white women, right?
Well, Karen is the...
Yes.
So but since she was courtside, she got to be courtside.
Courtside Karen, okay. And he says that courtside Karen was, all caps, mad, with 2 exclamation points, and then 7 crying, laughing emojis. Okay, I got it. But that will continue to escalate. And they did get, to your point, she got her 15 minutes of fame. I don't know, maybe she's going to become out front courtside Karen from this point on, the number 1 heckler, Hawks heckler, right?
Maybe she'll get a reality show out of this. I don't know.
She might. Is there an Atlanta housewife?
Oh, yeah, Atlanta. We famous for the housewives.
I know. Is there an open spot there?
No.
Probably not. I don't know. And then I think at some point LeBron took another shot at her and said, I thought it was his daughter because she apparently is much younger than he looks. You've seen him. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, she was saying, LeBron, I can't believe you're talking to a 25-year-old, which that sent the internet into a real 25, maybe 25 years ago, but not current, not February 1st. So but Skip, that's the thing, is that people think, okay, and you pay a lot of money. I've sat in those seats on the resale market. But even if you're a season ticket holder, Skip, those seats cost a lot of money. Not like the Lakers game, obviously, but that's a lot of money that you're paying because you got to buy all, 41 games. So it's a lot of money. But it doesn't give you the right to be able to, you think you can say whatever, call people out of the name, call you a B or a mofo. Come on, bruh. Sit down, you cheer, boo, all you like. But you ain't got to call me out my name.
Yet, LeBron has played so long into year 18, and he's been called so many things by so many hecklers in so many cities.
Yes.
I can't imagine what this one statement prompted him to do because he got completely involved in this in ways that usually he would stay above the fray. He would just
Probably was the word what Draymond said. You
Maybe.
see, Russ don't take nothing.
No, he doesn't.
Russ had Rondo people kicked out of the bubble.
He did
because they were clapping because he missed a shot.
Yeah.
So
we've seen Russ. Remember at Utah?
Yes, he got to fade. He got to go. So like I said, I believe it was something that there are certain words, Skip, that can get uttered by a fan that you'll cause an athlete to do a double take. And like, excuse me, what'd you say?
What? Okay, I got it. Now, back to the basketball game.
Oh, back to the game?
Yeah. the more irrelevant part of what happened last night. Okay, so what do I always say about LeBron James? Well, the one thing you don't want to do in any road situation is you don't want to provoke him basketball-wise the way the Cleveland executive provoked him by overclapping as he missed the last shot at the end of the third quarter. And he turned around and did a double take because he knew the guy and he knew the guy was Cleveland's legal counsel, now the capologist, the right-hand man of one, Dan Gilbert, with whom LeBron has had many battles, and that bridge is at least on fire, if not burned. So LeBron took that so personally, he just went crazy on that guy and scored 21 in the fourth quarter. I thought maybe this would provoke LeBron to go off and score, 15 or 20 in the fourth, because after 3 quarters, he had a grand total of 9 points. And he did make 1 3, which was his first 3 early in the quarter. And then from the incident on, 8:09 left is when the incident transpired. And LeBron didn't make a shot all the way down to 1:12 left in the game, which shocked me. I really thought this would set him off. And the game was right there for him to grab hold of because he had been quiet. He'd been passive. He had not been engaged in the game.
You see, the objective was to get AD going.
Okay.
Everything was funneling through AD.
All right. So he kept trying to get AD going. And finally, Trae Young hit a three, and it cut it to one. And to LeBron's credit, he came back down. And Cam Reddish was doing an excellent job on LeBron James. In fact, in all my years of watching LeBron, I'm not sure anybody has defended him much better than Cam Reddish was defending him last night, because Cam Reddish is big enough and quick enough and strong enough to kind of hang with him and mirror him. And yet, if we could see what happened with 1:12 left, Cam Reddish had been going over every screen, and that's the first time all night long.
Right.
You see what he did?
He went under.
He went under, and it gives LeBron a break where it's like, oh, I finally got one. I got a clean look.
Right.
And he shot it clean, and he followed through, and he didn't have anybody in his face. And I was shocked that Cam didn't just fight right over the top. It's my pet peeve about the NBA. I tell you this all the time. It's so easy to fight over screens, and they just give up and switch.
They either come up under it or they switch it.
And if you come up under it, you give a shooter a whole big, long second to just say, okay, I'm going to set and I'm going to make
It's
this.
basically a free throw.
Yeah.
Because his vision is unguarded. He just got a clean look at the basket.
Okay. So then LeBron does go crazy from the 1:12 mark to the end of the game, because he scores 9 points just in the last 1:12. So he had 9 through three quarters and 9 in the last 1:12. But I must say there was one breakaway layup that he got. And I gotta ask Shannon Sharpe about this one, because it looked like he ran about 5 steps with this. I don't know. What do I know? But is it possible LeBron walked with this? How many steps do you get?
1, 2.
You get 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3? Can you run 3 steps without
Skip, you know they ain't calling that.
They ain't calling this?
1,
2, 3,
2.
4, 4.
Yeah,
I think he ran 4 steps.
2.
He ran with the ball 4 steps, and you're not going to call that?
2.
I guess they decided he needed a break because that guy had been all over him. So
1, 2. Yeah, that's good right there.
Oh.
Skip, you get a good opportunity to catch the ball, don't you?
Huh? That's not even a Euro step. That's just a flat out, I ran with the ball and got away with it. I'm going to run with it. That's 3 good steps of running with the basketball. I thought per step you needed to dribble.
No, we're good.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you that one. And then he makes 4 free throws down the stretch.
I would have free throw had to look good, too. They're pure, too.
Were they? Yeah, because they haven't been looking that pure. Because he's at 71% and Kawhi is at 90%.
Man, this ain't got nothing to do with Kawhi.
Well, you kept bringing it up about what a great free throw shooter he is, and I'm not so sure about that. So, again, when the incident happened, the incident in question, they were up 8 points, 86-78. And yet the incident seemed to fuel the home team as much as it fueled the visiting team, because they kept scratching and clawing back into the game.
Skip, the Hawks are a good team. They got guys.
They got firepower.
Yeah, John Collins can play.
He can play.
Clint Capella just gets all the rebounds. Trae Young. Skip, I told you about Trae. I said, Skip, he's going to be able to get that shot. He got tremendous handle. He get in the lane. And he got 2 guys that can finish above the rim, Capella and John Collins. You see what he had last? He had 16 assists last night.
If only he could guard anybody at 5'11" or whatever he is. If only.
Hey, look, Skip, you're going to have to concede something. Now, he's going to score a bunch of points. He's going to have a bunch of assists, but he's going to have a bunch of turnovers, too. So you just already know.
He had 7 last night. Okay.
You got to live with 2-1. He's not going to be a Magic Johnson or, 3-1, John Stockton, a 3-1 assist to turnover. That's not, he's probably going to be half.
I give you this. He is a blast to watch. He's always going to be great box office. He's going to be a great sideshow. But as improved as they are, they've improved only to 500. They're 10-10, and they look like a 500 team to me.
Right.
Because there are limitations to how far you can go with him shooting that many shots and turning the ball over that many times and getting beaten on defense that many times. That's what it is.
I mean, he wasn't that bad. I mean, he's 7 of 15, 1 of 4 from 3, but he gets to the free throw line a bunch. And he's an 80+% free throw shooter.
He is crafty.
Yeah, so he finds a way, and he can get that shot off. I mean, he walk-up 3 that you talked about, he hit in KCP.
Well, that was the only one he hit all night.
Yeah.
Okay? And yet, I will give you this. He's a miniature James Harden. That's what he's got going. He's miniature, but he is small.
Right.
James is a full 6'5".
Yeah.
He doesn't look it, but he's 6'5".
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, is Trae 6 foot tall? 5'10"?
I don't think so. I think he's 5'11". I'll give him 5'11".
But you see why, Skip, and people like, well, why didn't Atlanta take Luka? But in Atlanta market, you can understand.
I agree.
You see.
Maybe they both made the right move.
The perfect situation, because you're going to see all the rappers, all the entertainers, and that gravitates them to him. Luka is
Totally
perfect in Dallas. Now, Luka is going to be I believe Luka is going to be the better player. But for Atlanta, Trae Young is perfect. But Skip, look, like you said, we got to the afterthought, which was the game, because there was an incident that superseded the game. But I thought the Lakers is what they were able to do, Skip. This team can score points. And the Lakers held them to under 100.
They did. The Lakers are playing the best defense in the NBA.
Yes.
The Nets are playing, in your view, the worst defense.
Yeah.
Yet the Nets can score like crazy.
But here's the thing, Skip. What happens when your shots don't start falling, when your shots stop falling, and you can't stop anybody else? So now what was probably a 5-10 point lead, somebody goes on a hot streak when your shots are not falling, and now you find yourself down 10, 15 points. The Lakers, if the ball's not going in, they can prevent you from putting the ball in the basket also.
Okay. So last night, the Lakers were the warm-up act for tonight's NBA Finals preview at Brooklyn.
Clippers
versus Nets.
My grass
Clippers, Nets.
I ain't watching that game.
You should watch, and you'll get a preview. You'll see what it's going to feel like when you see Clippers, Nets in the finals.
Yeah, I watch two teams neither play defense. See, the Clippers...
Neither play defense?
Hold on.
Did you just say neither?
Okay, you do realize the Clippers are 12th in defensive rating. Hold on. With all these defensive stoppers, you got Kawhi Leonard, two-time defensive player of the year.
Pat Bev's been out for like 5 games.
Skip, you know what
he changes everything.
You know what I noticed, Skip? Is that when great teams, you don't never like when James Harden, it was all about Danielle House. Ooh, House. If they'd have had House, they'd have beat the Lakers. Now you go Pat Bev. You got two dogs, two number ones, all NBA players, guys that have been in the MVP discussion.
Yep.
And you're talking about an auxiliary player. Pat Bev is what they call the NBA is another. That's what he is.
I call him a starter, the starting point guard of the best team in basketball that has the best record right now in basketball.
He is what he can Skip. All starters are not stars. They are considered others or role players.
Yep.
He's an other. The two guys that the thing focuses around is PG and Kawhi.
Well, the other blocked LeBron's shot on a fateful Christmas day as he was trying to shoot the tying three.
Y'all hung
knocked it right out of his hands, off the top of his head, and OB.
You know what y'all did? See, y'all hung a banner for that.
Yep.
We hung a banner as the 2020 champs.
Oh, okay.
You want to see it?
You were the bubble champs, the pandemic champs.
Hey.
Give you that.
We 17-17. I got a strong suspicion we're going to get to 18 before you know who does. What you want to bet on that? You want to put something on that?
Who's you know who? I don't even know.
Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics?
Yep.
No, I don't want to put anything on that. You want to talk Tom Brady? I'll talk Tom Brady.
Ain't nobody getting to 17.
I'm talking 7.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
No mercy.
Patrick Mahomes is on pace to surpass many of Tom Brady's career achievements by age 40, according to some NFL.com projections. And the feeling around the league is that it's a very realistic goal. When discussing Brady last week, Bruce Arians said, what Tom has done is historic, but if there's another player that could do it, it's Patrick Mahomes. So Mahomes is off to this hot start to his career, largely due to his elite surrounding cast. So Shannon, how much of an advantage has Mahomes had over Brady the last 3 years because of his receivers?
Not really. If you look at it, he had Gronk and many believe Gronk is the GOAT tight end. I've anointed him that, Skip, having played that position, having followed that position. He had 10 years of Rob Gronkowski. He had 6 years of Wes Welker. Wes Welker went to 5 Pro Bowls, averaged over 100 catches a season. He had 3.5 years of Randy Moss, and we know what Randy Moss represents, first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's regarded as a top 1, top 2 receiver in all of football. Troy Brown early in his career. So to say that Tom Brady does not have weapons is just not true. Now, maybe he didn't have Gronk and Randy at the same time, but he did have Randy Moss. He did have Rob Gronkowski for a decade. He did have Wes Welker for 6 years, in which Wes Welker averaged over 100 catches, led the league in receiving probably 3 or 4 times. So to try to minimize what Patrick Mahomes is doing because we see these weapons that he has now is not fair. No great player. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Roger Craig. We didn't minimize him. Dan Marino, people don't look, but Mark Duper and Mark Clayton, the Marks brothers, were unbelievable. Most great quarterbacks had great receiver. Dan Fouts had John Jefferson, Wes Chandler, had Kellen Winslow. That's just the way it works. Skip, you understand that. It's hard for a running back to make the Hall of Fame, in which he doesn't have at least one offensive lineman to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, make the Hall of Fame without a lineman making the Hall of Fame. Skip, I get it. What it does is that when you talk only about Mahomes' receivers, you minimize what this guy's capable of doing. Now, there'll probably come a time that he won't have Tyreek, that he won't have Kelsey. But the really great ones, because when he lost Gronk for that 1 year, when he lost Wes Welker, when he did not have Randy Moss, Tom Brady still found a way to make it work. Even when Devontae leaves the lineup, Brady, Aaron Rodgers find ways to make it work. He'll find ways to make it work. Skip, don't minimize him by just saying it's the receivers. Yes, they help make his job easier. But these guys weren't what we thought of. How we look at them today, they weren't like that with check down Alex Smith. We know that.
I have no idea what you just said. I don't get it. Because
you're trying to minimize, you and others are trying to minimize what Mahomes is doing because he had Tyreek. You never said Brady benefited from Randy Moss. You've never said.
I have too.
So Gronk played a role in that, right?
Okay, my turn. Patrick Mahomes, for his first 3 years, has had an outrageous advantage over Tom Brady. Do you realize that Brady started for 19 seasons in New England? Do you realize that 9 times in 19 seasons, he had 0 Pro Bowl weapons? Zero of his weapons made the Pro Bowl. 9 times out of 19. So let's look back at Mahomes now. The Chiefs, before he took over, 2015, 2016, 2017, they went 11-5, 12-4, and 10-6 and made the playoffs all 3 years. And then just as Tyreek and Kelsey were coming of age, middle of their prime, he got to start with those 2. He also gets to benefit from the play calling of, most people say, the best offensive mind in football today is Andy Reid. Wouldn't you agree with that? Okay. So Tom Brady had to win in spite of a head coach who was all defense all the time. And his coordinators, as we know, were Charlie Weiss, Bill O'Brien. Josh McDaniels did 2 duties of service there as the offensive coordinator. But offense wasn't always the focus, because if Belichick woke up one morning and decided, you know what, we're just going to run the ball tonight or this afternoon, they just ran the ball. So a lot of times Brady was a prisoner of Belichick's game plan or his philosophy of the night or day, where we got to go this direction.
Well, Skip, you don't think Andy wants to run the football?
No. I mean, but in the end, Andy's going to throw the football.
Yeah, because
he's just going to throw it. That's who he is, what he does.
Skip, you make it seem like they took the ball out of Brady's hand and they ended up rushing for 40 yards. They were rushing for 200-plus yards.
No, if they thought they had the advantage.
Yes.
Okay, and Brady never whimpered about it. He never said a word about it.
He shouldn't, because he cared about winning.
Stat-wise, Mahomes is going to just zoom past him.
No, Skip.
Yeah, because when you look at what's about to happen on Sunday evening, Patrick Mahomes won't just have the best receiver on the field. He'll have the 2 best receivers on the field, because Tampa doesn't have a Tyreek, and Tampa, I'm sorry, they don't have a Travis Kelce, because nobody has a Travis Kelce, who is about to overtake, I think, Gronk as the GOAT tight end. He is on that arc,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. he is basically uncoverable. And Gronk went so far yesterday as to say he's the best player on the team, and I think he meant other than Mahomes.
Right.
But I agree with that. I mean, he scares me even more than Tyreek scares me, and Tyreek scares the hell out of me. But I don't know how you guard this man because he has such a wavelength, Kelsey does, with Patrick. When in doubt, they just run option routes in the middle of the field, and they have such rapport, such chemistry, such a bond that Patrick can trust that he's going to wiggle, go. And I don't know. Kelsey ran 4.63 at the combine, but he looks like in pads that he's running 4.4. Yeah. His quickness is in the 4.4 region because, as you know, he's got wiggle quickness that a big man just doesn't have.
He's more fluid than Gronk.
Yeah.
Gronk seems robotic.
He's Frankenstein.
Right.
I mean,
but once he gets ahead of steam,
I got it. And yet he got battered. He got beat up. He took too many shots.
Yes.
So we look back at what Brady's had over 19 seasons. He had 4 Pro Bowl, quote-unquote, weapons. Is Troy Brown really a weapon?
He went to the Pro Bowl, though.
I know. He went to the Pro Bowl in Brady's first year in 2001, Brady and Troy Brown. But I'm talking about, other than Brady, the offensive weapons, they had one lone Pro Bowler, and it was Troy Brown.
I was at that Pro Bowl with Brady.
All right.
In
2001. Okay.
Yeah.
So Troy Brown, were you impressed? I don't know. To me, he's just another guy. He was okay, but he could play both ways. He was so good, they would play him at cornerback, right? So I don't know how great a wide receiver he really was. And then they snatched up Randy Moss before the 2007 season because he had quit on the Raiders, and all of a sudden, records fell like the snow in Foxborough. And so did opponents. And they got all the way, as we know, to 18-0. But it was really just that 1 year because Brady got hurt the next year, and then Moss sort of flamed out and fizzled out on schedule in New England, and pretty soon he was gone.
Well, when he played, Moss still put up big numbers even with Castle. I think it was that third year, Skip, that he started
to come apart, and there was a Monday night game at Miami where it looked like he was quitting on New England, and the next day he was gone.
And they shipped him back to Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and then in 2009, Wes Welker did emerge. But are we saying Wes Welker is Tyreek Hill?
No, Skip. But I'm just saying, Skip, he did go to 5 Pro Bowls in 6 seasons.
I think he went to, I got 4, but whatever. Okay. I got maybe 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Only 2 years in Brady's 19 as starter, 11 and 12, did he have 2 Pro Bowl receivers, if we're going to call Gronk a receiver, okay? They were both Pro Bowlers in 11 and 12.
Right.
Then in 13, he had none. Gronk alone in 14 and 15, none in 16. Gronk alone in 17, none in 18. And we know what happened in 19. They were at the bottom of the barrel in what's called, by Pro Football Focus, separation. He had nobody to throw to, and even you agree with that.
Right. But here's the thing, Skip. When you look at what Tom Brady's played with, Coach Belichick, I give Tom credit. Tom Brady has done... He made some great sandwiches with not a whole lot of ingredients. Basically just gave him some bread and a whole bunch of stuff that was in the refrigerator that not supposed to go, and Tom made it delicious. But Coach Belichick, now, Ty Law's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Do we believe Darrelle Revis will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Now, Richard Seymour is up on the ballot this year. This will be, if I'm not mistaken, maybe his 3rd or 4th time. He's going to go in. So that's 3 right there. Yep. Jamie Collins has been to the Pro Bowl. Malcolm Butler was in the Pro Bowl. Willie McGinnis went to the Pro Bowl. So Stephon Gilmore, was he any good? So while you keep saying they didn't have anything offensively, where's the firepower like this defensively that's on the Chiefs right now? Okay, I got it. But when you look at stat projections, Mahomes is going to just blow past Brady because it's what they do. Yeah, Skip, the game is a lot more wide open. But, Skip, I don't even really want to have this discussion until Patrick Mahomes get to year 15. Because you see what happens, Skip? Now, they get a big lead.
Long way from now.
Exactly. But what did they do, Skip? They had the division clinched. So what did they do? They rested. So that's 300 yards that maybe he doesn't get. That's a touchdown or between 1 and 3 touchdowns that he doesn't get. Plus, what have we seen? Early in his career, he got a knee injury and he had to sit 2 games. He did? Tom Brady. So, Skip, it's so far away. Look what Patrick's already doing, though. This is his first 3 years of starting. Oh, it's not even close. He's averaging 307 passing yards a game. That's great. Yes. Brady's over the last, well, I guess this is for his whole career. It's 263. Right. Okay. That's who he is. That's how they win games. Right. That's how they won for 19 years. He's a 250-yard passer. But here's the thing, though, Skip. Brady was not as advanced at passing at the early age like Mahomes. So to ask him to try to be Tom Brady today, back then, wasn't going to be fair. And Coach Belichick knew that was a recipe for us getting beat, to ask him to throw the ball for. Bruce Arians would have no problem if Tom Brady were to throw the ball 50 times on Sunday. Now, it might not be good because that means you don't have a running game and they're just going to tee up on you. But he would feel comfortable with that. Coach Belichick, in his first 3 to 5 years, weren't going to feel comfortable with that.
Okay. Would Andy Reid be comfortable if they threw it 50 times?
Hell, he threw it 53 in November. I mean, whenever they played. Was it November, I think?
November 29th.
Was it 29th?
It's at the end of November.
But he threw 53 times then. So clearly, Andy would have no problem with him throwing the ball that much. Skip, but
By the way, quick point of order. Both teams are undefeated since that day at Tampa.
Oh, no, well, they lost the last game when they rest Mahomes. But starting.
Okay, but when he played.
Right,
but they have not lost again?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Just for the record.
So, Skip, for me, look, I think Mahomes makes, there's something about, and I remember when Peyton was signed with Denver, and I remember having a conversation with Eric Decker and Julius Thomas and Demarius, and I was saying, your life's about to change. You don't realize how easy this guy's going to make your life. If you're where you're supposed to be, your numbers are going to go through the roof. Now, you're not going to get the credit because he's there. Tyreek and Travis Kelce will never get the credit because Mahomes. Just like with Brady, you're not going to get a lot of credit offensively. You just understand that. But the credit's going to come when you got them Lombardis when they, at the end of your career, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times Super Bowl champ because you played with that guy.
It's funny. For his whole career, Brady has been up against other quarterbacks who are so much more gifted than he is.
Yes.
I mean, Mahomes is obviously worlds more gifted than Tom Brady. And it occurred to me yesterday, is it possible? I once called Michael Jordan a supremely talented overachiever because he was an overachiever. Because remember, he got cut from his the ninth grade team.
That sent him on his path. He got for the varsity team.
So there was some overachiever. He acted like an overachiever. He worked like an overachiever. So is Brady, but Brady is not supremely talented. So is it possible Brady's just the greatest overachiever in sports history?
That could be the case, but the thing that Brady does that is done that's better than any other quarterback in the moment, he's played the best. He doesn't always play Skip. He might have 100 yards going into the final drive, and he needs 45 yards and a touchdown, and you look at the final stat like, man, Brady only had 145 yards. Yeah, but that 45 came on a game-winning drive in which he beat you.
That is correct.
So that's what he's been able to do better than any other quarterback in the history of the game. Play great in moments. The thing that Aaron didn't do in the championship game. Aaron played great, but in the big moments, he didn't play well.
It's not splashy. It's not flashy.
No.
But it works.
All right. It's worked plenty in the past. And, of course, Tom Brady, he spoke to reporters during yesterday's virtual edition of Super Bowl opening night. And the ageless wonder made it sound like he wasn't ready to hang up his cleats anytime soon. The 43-year-old QB has been on the record saying he wants to play until age 45. But yesterday he said he'd, quote, definitely consider playing past that point. How is my question? But, Shannon, can you see this happening?
Yep. I was listening to him talk. I think Giselle is giving up. Giselle is like, I ain't tell him to come home. We done talked about this. You said this 10 years ago that you was going to play 3-4 more years. Because he wasn't about the family. He says, I'll know. He didn't mention anything about no family.
He did not.
Prior to that, Skip, he said, I'll sit down with my family. We'll discuss it, yada, yada, yada. My wife wants me to retire, yesterday. At this moment, now he's saying, I'll know when it's over. When I want to put into it, when I don't feel I'm devoting as much to the team and I give them the chances that they need to win, then I'll step away. Skip, I would not be surprised. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on record and say I'm going to be shocked if he doesn't play till he's 45. The biggest surprise about Tom Brady's career is how he's been able to avoid the big hit. Skip, at quarterback, Skip, you looking down the field, and you got 5 guys blocking for you, but sometimes guys whiff. Sometimes guys block the wrong guy, have the wrong assignment, and somebody comes scot-free, and they put their shoulder or their helmet in the small of your back or in your chest. He's been able to avoid hits like that for 20-plus years. He doesn't get the big shot where he has to take he takes a shot, and he has to come out for one play.
I did think he took some big shots at Chicago on that Thursday night and against New Orleans on the Sunday night at home.
No, the big shot that he took is what you call him, slung him down and slammed him on his head. Khalil Mack was delayed. And he got upset about that because Brady knows those are the hits, not the ones that you...
By the way, Pro Football Focus says that was the only play that Tristan Wirfs gave up a sack on the whole year.
Right.
That he got beaten on that play by that guy.
Right. There's no shame in that, Tristan. So Skip, he's been able to avoid the hit. He didn't take that flush shot like Drew Brees where you collapse a lung, crack, break 11 ribs, and all kind of things like that. He hasn't taken that. So that is the most surprising thing, and that's why he's possibly, because he knows this, Skip. He ain't taking that shot. He sees the sack. It's 2nd and 13. It's 2nd and 15. It's 3rd and whatever. But I'm not going to give you an opportunity to take me down and you land on top of me. Because when you pliable, Skip, that means you don't have the muscle density to absorb those shots like a person that's muscle bound. So what he does is that you saw him, Skip, Sunday against the Packers. Go, hey, you got me.
How many times have you been on him this year for there'll be a free runner, an open, like a corner blitzer, and
Chuck and duck.
He ducks and rolls, man. He does. Okay.
Smart.
You got to live to play another.
Yes. That's how you play until you're 45. You can't, Skip, you can't be taking those. Look, that's 45. That man's 43. You can't be taking those shots that a lot of these quarterbacks take and says, you know what, I'm going to do this again, I'm going to do this again. So so to make a long story short, I'm going to be surprised if he does not play until he's 45.
So when I watched this yesterday, and I watched it live, the first person I thought of was you. And I laughed, and then I couldn't stop laughing because this man is going to torment you for years to come.
At least 2 more, huh?
And I'm going to knock on wood because it does depend. He's the first to say it's a very physical game, and you never know. I don't know. Maybe the Super Bowl, I'm knocking on wood. You don't know when that hit will come or when he'll just say...
Enough of this.
Yeah, and we've had people on the show, different contributors to the show, say, well, hey, if he wins the Super Bowl, would he then take some time and say, you know what? I've had a great run. Why not end it this way?
Nah,
I don't think so either.
Yeah, he has an unquenchable thirst for winning.
So I don't condemn you for this, but when we started this show 4 years ago, you were saying, you know what? It's time for him to retire. It's time for him just to go home because it's too hard from this point on. But you were looking at it through the eyes of a man, who at 35 said, I can't take the meetings anymore. I can't take the drudgery. I can't take the relentless drudgery of day after day after day studying, answering questions in meetings, be completely prepared for the game. And then your body just starts to betray you because you're taking too many hits. And yours started to, as everybody starts to at 35-ish, right? Maybe before that, depending on your position. So in this case, he is saying that I don't think I could ever go at this game half-assed. Well, he won't.
No,
he can't.
He can't.
He is still obsessed with it. I'm sure he's calling Byron Leftwich every night at, 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, I just saw this play. Do you think we could try this to do that, to counteract that? Yeah, because he's on fire with it. He likes to play a little off-season golf. He likes to go on a couple of little vacations with his family. But all that really matters to him outside of his family is this. He's on
Football
fire.
takes precedent right now.
Yeah, it takes precedence. And he's had a rebirth under a coach that he raved about the other day that he loves. He just loves the atmosphere because he could sort of mold the team the way he wanted to mold it as the absolute unquestioned leader of the team.
Yeah, I believe the biggest thing is, Skip, is that he can possibly get on to players and not feel he's stepping on Coach Belichick's toes. Bruce Arians will allow him to do that.
Exactly. No, that is a fact. And then I love the quotes from Larry Foote, and I'd forgotten that Larry Foote, who's the Bucs outside linebackers coach, played with Brady at Michigan. And so he was raving yesterday about how he was humble then and he's still humble now because he's the same guy. He didn't change. He didn't become the man in the mirror, like where you start to become your image. No, he's still Brady. And yet Larry Foote concluded he's just the ultimate competitor. He just likes to compete at the highest level. This is fun for him.
Right.
This is not, it's not pressure. It's not, there's no relentless drudgery to his life right now. There's no part of his life where he says, you know, I just don't know if I can take this much longer.
And the thing is, Skip, is that, as you mentioned, you say, okay, he plays a little golf, he plays a little vacation, but you retire from football. Are you going to golf every day?
Every day.
Are you going to vacation every month?
Right.
Probably not. So this is it. He's never going to be around the locker room. He's going to miss the locker room. He's going to miss the stretching. He's going to miss being on the field. The only thing is, Skip, is that you really never know. We watched Peyton Manning throw 39 touchdowns one year and just seemed like he dropped off a cliff.
We did.
We saw Drew Brees. What happened? Drew Brees had 30-plus touchdowns, I think, a year before last. And then this year, he was a shell of himself.
He was.
It goes quick. But Tom has it, and Peyton wasn't taking big shots. Peyton mastered of going down and not taking the big shot. So I wouldn't bet against him. This is the only thing that I'm not going to bet against him, because he says, I want to play to 45, and now he says, I might play beyond. But, Skip, that's 2 years away. That's next year and the year after. So I don't know about playing beyond, but I do feel comfortable. I feel 80%, 75 to 80, that he'll play at least 2 more years.
Yep. I'm not going to, I always tell you, there's one man in sports I don't bet against, and on longevity, I'm not going to bet against him either, because he is having fun shattering the mold, because he doesn't think about, I'm this age. He just thinks, I'm the best I've ever been.
Right.
He feels like he's playing at the highest level ever, both mentally and physically.
And he's in a great situation, Skip. Warm weather. People don't understand. Man, I remember practicing in Denver for the Super Bowl, and we went to Miami.
Yep.
Practicing for the Super Bowl, Skip, and we go to San Diego, or we was in Baltimore practicing outside the cold, and we going down to Tampa.
Right, and it has been reported his family loves Tampa.
Man.
Okay, so look out.
You laughing, Jim. I'm telling you, man, hey, that's unbelievable. Like, man, you can wear shorts and short sleeve in January.
It's huge.
You put that stuff away in September in those other places that I was at. But, I mean, he's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And so I'd have bet a lot of money. I'd have bet a lot of money he wouldn't be playing. Hell, forget 45. Hell, I would have bet money he wouldn't be playing to 43. And I'd have lost everything.
Yep. Don't bet against him.
I'd have lost everything.
Do not bet against him. No, absolutely not. And speaking of not betting against the GOAT, Skip, you wrote a great piece. It's up on foxsports.com just about Brady and how he's totally won you over. But here's the situation, and I love him as well, but there are Brady haters out there still.
There are. And Shannon.
Yeah.
Took me 3 days to write this. I went way deep on how Tom Brady slowly but surely and then completely won me over as a fan. And as you know, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I don't like the Patriots. I have little to no use for the Buccaneers. But that guy, I finally decided, is it. He's the realest deal I've ever closely observed. And I still cannot understand, I can't get it right in my mind, why so many people still hate him, despise him, doubt him, when they should be won over also. So that's what I wrote from top to bottom, and I would appreciate it if even you Brady haters would give it a shot.
Hey, i.e. LeBron James. Like, why they still hate LeBron? But clearly you're not Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne could have wrote that on the day. That when he'd write that in the hour. It took you 3 days.
Oh, come
3 days,
on.
but it's 3,000 words.
It's pretty long. I was reading it. It's very well done, Skip. I'm very impressed.
No mercy. Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
Patrick Mahomes, touchdown! Kelsey, and he lives and dies, touchdown! Kansas City, yes! The Chiefs are back-to-back AFC champions, ready to run it back. They are headed to Super Bowl 55 to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, Shannon season as a starting QB, and despite winning regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP already, might only be scratching the surface. Yesterday at Super Bowl opening night, Patrick Mahomes told reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm at a way different level than I ever was last year in terms of reading defenses." This is just the beginning for him, which is what's so special about his future. So, Shannon, do you like that he said this?
I love it because he's being honest, Skip, and that's what comes with experience, the understanding and the knowledge of what, not only what you need to do, but what a defense is trying to do. And that's what happened to me, Skip. Early in my career, I was just fast. So I just run, I didn't have no idea, didn't have to read defense. I was just trying to get open. And then once I understood what a coverage was and what they were actually trying to do and where they were weak at and how I could manipulate them with certain movements, it's like, this is stealing. This is too easy. And you see with him, Skip, he played in the run and shoot. Skip, and I'm not to miss the run and shoot. But guys are just running scot-free.
At Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. They're not reading the whole bunch. And because it came so easy, Skip, he didn't even get a chance to grow. He's like, this is easy. I got 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards my first year starting. And he's like, well, damn. I mean, and that's why you hear a lot of guys say, man, college was harder than the NFL. But once he started, he broke it down, and he started like, okay, this is this coverage. Now, if I do this, I can get him to move there, and then I can hit Tyreek over here for a big play. Or I can manipulate them into thinking I'm going to Tyreek, and I can find Kelsey, or I can find Watkins. So that comes with experience. And as you look at Brady, that's why I say it's hard to fool Brady. Because he's seen everything. You can line up in one thing. Oh, I know you go into cover two. I know you go into quarters. I know you're going to play 22-man. I know you're going to play trail or kick coverage. Yep. So as he gets older, he's only going to get better. He's going to be seeing everything. And with his ability, Skip, as you say, the sky's the limit. So I have no problem with saying this because it's hard for you to know everything. I mean, they want the guy. And I think that's what it was, Skip. Because he had the level of success that he had so early, people automatically, well, he's way beyond his years. He was immensely talented. Now you throw that immense talent with immense preparation and immense understanding, this is what you get.
Okay. So I love that he said this for the Bucs' sake because I thought it was a little over the top cocky, but that's who this young man is. That's part of his psyche. It's part of his aura. It's part of his body language. He has swagger to him, and he is feeling himself. He's actually feeling himself coming of age. So I get why he said it. It's just pretty surprising to me that he would go that far to say, I feel like I'm at a way different level than I even was last year.
Yeah.
Okay, is he trying to intimidate the Bucs defense? Because I don't think that'll work.
No, but you remember, Skip, on the Sharpe, he said he didn't understand how to read defense until halfway through last season. Okay. I think that came out in February or March of this year, 2020, when he was in the Sharpe, and he was talking about his understanding of defenses.
Okay. But we've heard references last week to Tom Brady is one of the best, if not the best, which I thought was a little bit dismissive of Brady. And when he did refer to him as the GOAT, it was a little bit sarcastically because this kid is starting to think he is the greatest of all times. I don't take that away, but I'm warning you and him. It can be dangerous because, I'll say it one more time, you did win your first Super Bowl, but you were a little shaky in that game. Down the stretch, you did throw that late third quarter interception, the early fourth quarter, and you trailed 20-10 mid-fourth quarter. And you were fortunate you were up against Jimmy G instead of Tom Brady because Jimmy G in the fourth quarter went 3 of 11 for a grand total of 36 yards with an interception. And so you had no real pushback as you roared back and took the lead. And yet, remember, there's the Emmanuel Sanders play with 1:40 left. He's got you beat by a step. Yeah. And Jimmy G missed him at the goal line.
Well, his pushback was Nick Bosa and DeForest Buckner and Armstead and Richard Sherman and Warner. That was his pushback.
Yep. Well, okay, so he did that, but he almost didn't do it with the 2 interceptions. They could have been game losers if Jimmy G had leaped upon the opportunities that he was given to extend the lead, but he could not do that. Okay, so I'm just putting this in perspective. That's one thing that Tom Brady would have never said. But he's different. He's cut from completely different cloth, where he goes out of his way. In fact, Tom Brady never says anything about anything.
Exactly.
Because he knows the focus should be all team all the time. And after a while, it wears me out to listen to Brady because he rarely says anything that is repeatable or memorable.
Exactly.
For us to talk
but
about.
I think the thing is, Skip, what he's saying is that my understanding of my job and what they're trying to do against me is light years from where it was last year. This is not taking anything from the team. This is the reason why the team is here. It's like because my knowledge, my understanding of what I need to do and what they're trying to stop me from doing, it's almost like, Skip, he doesn't throw any blind passes. It's like he gets off key and he remembers like where everybody's supposed to be. And now it's an off-balance throw where he's back across his body, but he's hitting Kelsey, or he's hitting Tyreek, or he's hitting these guys. He understands. He doesn't miss very many blitz pickups. And he understands. I'm expecting a lot of zone blitzes in this situation, Skip, where they bring the two inside backers and they drop a D tackle or they drop JPP because he's really good.
He'll drop into coverage. He's pretty good at it.
Because if you don't, you see they hit Tyreek on that quick slant. Now, you bring somebody and Tyreek catch a quick slant, you got the Dickens getting him down because he's got open field. So I think we're going to see some of that. I think that, look, you give him a little dose of this, a little dose of that, and see what you have success with. But Mahomes, his understanding and his the greatest thing that a quarterback can have is recall. Is that, okay, in this situation, I've seen 100 snaps, and in this situation, this is what you normally do. Now, I'm going to expect this. And that's the way Mike had us approach. He said, look, here's the printout. Mike Shannon, head coach. Skip, this is the way we did it. He said, down in distance, in this area of the field, the 85% this. We're going to plan for this. And if they give us this and this, we'll react. But we can't get trapped knowing that this is what they like to do. Quarterback Tom Brady has tremendous recall. The great quarterbacks have tremendous recall. Brady, the Mannings, the Rodgers, the Elways, all these greats can recall situations just like that. You got to be able to think on your feet, Skip. It's not just good enough to recall it. Now, remember, JPP tried to tear your head off. Shaq Parrott tried to put his helmet in your back. And you know what? If Sue get his hands on you, Sue ain't never just laid anybody down, Skip. Sue tried to shove you through the dirt. So for me to hear him, Skip, and he's 25, and I didn't expect him to skip and that's the biggest misconception, is that people think because you played quarterback your whole life, that you should automatically, well, you've just been doing it your whole life. The NFL is a whole different ball game.
Well, it is. So far, everything has come incredibly easy with Patrick Mahomes, and it's not that easy. No. Brady has struggled at times. Brady has failed at times, and yet Brady is in his 10th Super Bowl because he stayed consistent in his approach, which is team, team, team. I don't ever talk about me. I'm not going to talk about my growth or my achievements. It's all about the team. So I just warn you to be careful because it's starting to trickle down to the rest of the team. Did you see what Chris Jones said yesterday?
No.
He said Mahomes is already the GOAT. That's fine. You should believe that if you're on his team. And he said, I feel like I'm going to win like, he said, 6 or 7 rings. Well, that's who the Chiefs have become. Pretty full of themselves. Not that easy.
Because, Skip, the worst thing that you could have is early success. Because sometimes you take it for granted and think it is that easy. When it's not.
See Aaron Rodgers.
It's not that easy. It's a grind because you see what happened. You got 3 linemen out, Skip. Now you got 2 more players on COVID protocol.
You do.
It's just like that, Skip. Now, we could be having a whole different discussion if Robinson and Kilgore, the center, if they're not back. So we're talking about 4 starters, potentially a third, your 4th wide receiver not being there. That's a whole, and it's just like that. So what happens if that's a playoff game and you're down 4 starters? Well, you don't even get a chance to get to the Super Bowl. So when you have early success, Skip, man, this thing could be a breeze. You win you go to your first Olympic. Oh, he's 20 years old. Oh man, he gonna win like 3 or 4 of these things. Okay.
Right. Good luck.
It's not that simple.
Nope.
No mercy. Let's talk about the drama last night. The Lakers beat the Hawks 107-99, but the biggest headline from the game was an interaction that LeBron had with a courtside heckler during the 4th quarter that resulted in 4 fans being ejected from the arena. Who was seemingly at the center of the incident, posted on social media last night that the spat stemmed from a back and forth that LeBron had with her husband during the game. LeBron ended up scoring LA's final 9 points to seal the victory. And he told reporters afterward, "I'm happy fans are back in the building. I missed that interaction, but I don't think they should have been kicked out." Skip, what do you make of this whole thing and everything that happened last night?
So, Shannon, there's an old baseball term called rabbit ears. It started in that sport. You've heard it your whole life. As an athlete, a professional athlete, you cannot, or a college athlete, you cannot have rabbit ears, meaning you can't hear the hecklers to a fault, because if you let them get in your head, under your skin, into your psyche, you'll fail because you'll get distracted by the hecklers, which is usually their goal.
Right.
So the X factor here, the one missing piece of evidence in this whole equation is, what did that guy, her husband, at courtside say to set off LeBron in the first place? I have no idea. It has not been reported.
Right.
It must have been pretty strong.
Correct.
I don't know where to go. I didn't want to speculate over what it is, so I didn't want to throw out possibilities, but you know all the possibilities.
Correct.
There was some magic word that got said that pushed LeBron's button in ways it doesn't usually get pushed, because I'm sure over the years, he's only played 18. How much has he heard?
Exactly.
Everything. Even
you suck. Jordan's better than you. Kobe's better than you.
All of the above.
Yes.
Okay. All the way to racial slurs. And I'm not suggesting that happened last night, but something went, what LeBron said was over the out of bounds. That's what he called it. What he said was out of bounds.
Right.
So LeBron took it upon himself to respond directly to him. For the record, there were 1,341 fans there, which it can start to reverberate. It can sound pretty loud with that many people in that building, even though it's still a small part of the capacity of the building. Okay, so now she gets involved, and that's when it escalates. So her testimony, which came after the game on Instagram stories, she says that once he insulted her husband, that she started to fire back at him. LeBron suggests that there was alcohol involved, and I'm sure it was alcohol-fueled, but she went all the way to say that when I stood up and said, "Don't effing talk to my husband," he looks at me and goes, "Sit the F down, B." Would LeBron really say that to somebody at courtside? I don't know.
LeBron might have been drinking. He might have had
he might have had his wine at halftime. I don't know.
But here's the question.
But now the whole thing has gone completely over the edge.
Let me ask her a question, though,
Okay.
Skip. When your husband said something to LeBron, did you tell your husband, "Sit down, don't talk to the man like that, he's doing his job"?
Oh, she did not.
Exactly. So you feel that your husband, because y'all pay premium for these seats, has a right to say whatever he wants to the guy that's doing his job. No, Skip, I don't ever go to a restaurant or somebody's job and call them out there. Even if they get the order, "Okay, bro, my bad. You got the order wrong." But
Agreed.
But
it's not worth it.
Yeah, but Skip, people think because they pay money, and the first thing they yell, what they yell, Skip, "I pay your salary." I don't care if you do. You take one.
Yep.
Bro, don't call me out my name. You want to say I suck? You want to say, "Boo, you terrible, Jordan's better than you"? You want to say Gonzalez or whomever, Gronk better than you? That's fine.
Okay.
But when you start calling me a B, a SOB, and all that other stuff,
I agree.
Then you not need to have a conversation.
So LeBron did have conflicting statements in his postgame interview, because at one point he said, "I don't feel like it was warranted to be kicked out," because they got escorted out as politely as possible, given the fact they were probably drinking.
Right.
But the point is, then later he said that it did get so out of hand that he thought it wasn't going to get better. Right.
So they didn't have no choice, because now you said that happened at like 8:49?
It was 8:05.
So that's basically 15 minutes left in the ball game, Skip, in basketball time. So basically, every time we come back up the court, guess what the official's going to have to do? He's going to have to intervene, because she wasn't going to let it go, Skip. She's already agitated. It looks like, and LeBron said maybe they had been drinking. So the one thing we know, when someone has been drinking and they're agitated, it's hard to control them, Skip. Look, I went to college and I had a lot of teammates that they drank. Now, some of them guys, Skip, they get drunk and they want to tear the dorm up, want to tear everything up.
I agree.
But I had some.
It can work both ways.
And all they want to do, man, Sharpe, come on, man, go out with a Sharpe. What you doing tonight?
Well, they say LeBron gets more like that after a few glasses of wine.
I'm like, what I'm going to do is get your you-know-what out of my room. But sometimes, once a guy that's agitated or a person that's agitated and they've been drinking, Skip, ain't no reason, ain't no rationing with them. It looks like the official said, ma'am, just have a seat. And then she was like, she done snatched the man down and she doing all this.
Plus, she was seizing the stage because she did have her 15 minutes of...
She got the phone out immediately.
She was rolling.
Because I know y'all got this going on, but I need to document this for myself.
Okay, so even though LeBron seemed to be laughing it off, he did take it seriously enough that afterwards he did, or his social people tweeted for him. About calling her courtside Karen, was mad, both capitalized with 2 exclamation points and then 7 crying, laughing emojis. Okay, so is he really laughing until he cries about it, or did it sting him a little bit? It seemed to affect him enough that he's not going to let it go after the game.
Skip, what bothered her the most is that when you go on her IG and look at it, now it looks like her husband he's well off. They had a lot of different vacations. She got nice furs and diamonds and things like that.
They're courtside, man.
But here's the thing, Skip. If you got money and somebody throws you out of something, Skip, oh, my goodness. I'm above that because, remember, she was like, I got season tickets. I sit courtside. They said, don't matter. You about to get up out of here. So, Skip, now, no matter how much money I got, hell, I'm getting thrown out just like somebody was up in the top row that was drunk and acting foolish. So that's supposed to be beneath her. Money's supposed to exempt her from that. That's what she was thinking.
Okay, but it did not. And yet she said her husband is a longtime Hawks fan who just has an issue. Like, it felt like an ongoing issue with LeBron. And I have no idea what that was.
What's the issue?
I don't know.
You tried a business proposition and LeBron said no. LeBron people said no. Because what is LeBron? Skip, I guarantee you, if that guy walked by LeBron couldn't tell you who he was. Okay. So he has an issue with LeBron.
It's hard for me to believe that you ain't Jordan would set him off. It's hard to. How many times?
That ain't out of bounds.
Nope.
That's not out of bounds.
Maybe if you put that magic word in front of Jordan, maybe, I don't know. Maybe if you cursed at him.
Man, these people, they need to stop this. Y'all need to sit down now. Y'all doing too much.
She's since deleted some of those stories as well. So I don't know if maybe she was getting a little hyped up with the storytelling. I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot to handle.
No mercy.
Welcome back to Undisputed. We're now joined by San Francisco tight end George Kittle, who's here on behalf of New Old Spice Dynasty, available at Target, helping give guys the confidence to smell ready for anything. George, it is great to have you with us today. Of course, we're going to talk about your 49ers. We will talk about the Super Bowl in a minute. But first, the big news from the NFC West this week, your rival, the Rams, acquiring Matt Stafford. How much will this help LA next year?
Thanks for having me on, guys. Really happy to be here. I mean, Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback. I think he played incredibly well his entire career at the Lions. The throws that he makes, he's a hell of a quarterback, and I think he's a hell of a leader. Just from my relationship with T.J. Hawkinson, who said he was awesome to have when he was in Detroit. And I mean, the Rams are obviously getting a great football player. I think it's going to definitely help them. But I'm not. I think I'm very confident in our defense and the players that we have to, go up against that and compete with it every single, twice a year. So, I mean, it's an interesting trade, but it is what it is. And I'm just looking forward to playing more football.
So, George, Skip, I don't mean to put you on the spot right out of the chute, but obviously there has been rampant speculation that your team might be in the quarterback market. Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins. Realize how close you are with Jimmy Garoppolo, but do you feel like it's about time to fight Rams fire with fire and maybe think about upgrading at quarterback for your side?
I mean, Skip, I think that is all it is. It's speculation. The 49ers aren't in the playoffs this year. And so let's just talk about the most controversial thing, which for the last 2 or 3 years has been the quarterback position of the 49ers. And that's what everyone wants to talk about. I think Jimmy G's a hell of a quarterback. I love playing with him. I think he's a great leader on and off the field. He gets guys in the positions they need to be to win. And, whenever he's given the opportunity, I think he plays at a really high level, especially when he's, not injured. Fighting fire with fire. I think my fire is Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead and Fred Warner. And I'm pretty confident in that.
You mentioned ability is availability. And for the large part, George, he hasn't been available most of the time. You're playing with C.J. Beathard. You're playing with Nick Mullins. And if you're a top-notch quarterback, he needs to be on the field to give you guys the best chance to win and compete for those titles that you're looking for.
No, 100%. I mean, same goes for all of our players. We had kind of an unreal amount of injuries this year from, I got hurt in the first game. We lost 3 guys, 2 to ACLs in the second game. Obviously availability is the best ability. And when Jimmy's on the field, we're winning football games. And when he's not, we're not winning football games. And so, I think that speaks to, his level of play, but you have to be healthy. And, I'm not going to hold it against a guy for, tearing an ACL and then a high ankle sprain where he got, a guy fell on him, but definitely, you got to be healthy. But when he is healthy, I'm very confident in all of his abilities. And I know that he's doing everything in his power to stay healthy, for us next year.
You and I both played for the Shanahans. I played for Mike, Kyle's dad. You played for Kyle Shanahan. Travis Kelce also plays in this offense. Darren Waller plays in this offense. Can you explain to the people at home what it's like for a tight end to play in the West Coast system and why the guys have such success in that system?
Oh, wow. It's the best offense. I love playing for the Shanahans, and, Mike's awesome too. Whenever he was able to come to the facility, 2019, being able to see him and talk to him about football, he's incredible. And I think you're lucky to have him as a head coach because everything he talks about is awesome. But the tight end position in this offense, all the run plays, all the pass games, it all ties together. And when you're doing well in the run game, the pass game's wide open for you because they kind of lose you. The safeties and the backers have to step up a little bit. So you find those open spots, you find those open spaces. And then it gives you a lot of room to run. Obviously, the game that you broke, you had 214 yards in a game, you were just running wild all over the field. And, a lot of that's, concept and, but really just, it puts guys in positions to succeed. So, when you put a talented tight end in it, it just allows him to play at an incredibly high level. So it's a very tight end friendly offense.
So, George, through this Super Bowl week, we're hearing a lot of discussion about will Travis Kelce pass Gronk as the GOAT tight end? You're in that conversation. You're certainly in the debate. Compare and contrast you and Travis's games. What do you do better than him? What does he do better than you?
Skip, I leave the compare and contrasting. That's what you guys do. I just go on the football field and I play. At the end of the day, all I try to do is I try to put my best film on tape. I try to go out there, play at the highest level because, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And if, my colleagues around the NFL respect me and, they like the way I play the game, that's all that really matters for me. And I get that everyone wants to compare and contrast, but, the comparison's kind of the thief of joy. And I just enjoy, going out there and playing football. And I love watching Travis Kelce play. And, the level he's playing at this year from, breaking the all-time receiving the single season record to averaging like 100 yards a game the last 10 weeks, it seems like, he's just playing at an incredibly high level and an offense that's rolling right now. And it's really fun to see that. So like I said, you can compare and contrast. I think we're both just really good tight ends, both playing at a high level.
What do you see between Gronk? Gronk's a little older than you, but what do you see? Between Gronk and Travis, because this is going to be the matchup, and it could play a very, very important role. We know Travis Kelce is going to get his targets. Gronk doesn't get as many targets as he once did in New England, but when you least expect it, he can break the game open.
100%. I think, Gronk is all growing up, or especially high school, college, all you saw was Gronk playing at the highest level, in playoffs and Super Bowls. And now Travis Kelce's been doing that probably the last 4 years, always playing at a high level in playoffs and now the Super Bowls. And, I think what they both do well is they both play at an incredibly high level consistently throughout the entire game. And whether Gronk's getting 0 targets, he's still making a huge impact in the run game, and they still have to account for him in the pass game. And Travis Kelce is just always open. And, whether that's his route running ability or, his teammates opening up holes for him in zones, the guys, he always finds a way to get open, and Mahomes always finds a way to get him the ball. So they're both just playing at an incredibly high level. And I agree with you. I think it's going to come down to which one of those two guys makes the most plays. It's, going to give the team an advantage, because I think both offenses are pretty high powered, and I think they're both going to put up a lot of points.
So, George, as you reflect back, had a year to think about it, digest it, what happened in the fourth quarter of last year's Super Bowl? You guys are up 20-10 really mid-fourth quarter. And then what's the flashpoint? Where did it start to go wrong for you?
I mean, looking back on it, watching the tape, I think everyone usually points the finger at like the 3rd and 15 that they completed.
Yeah.
But really, I think it was like the following series, we went 3 and out. And I think that's kind of when our whole sideline was like, all right, well, they're probably going to score here because they're rolling right now. It's a big momentum swing. And if our defense doesn't get a stop, your offense is going to have to perform. But I think that's kind of where you kind of felt it. I mean, I was incredibly confident the entire game going into the game. I was confident, but momentum's a hell of a thing. And when you got that, kind of everything, the ball falls your way, everything goes your way. And definitely going 3 and out after they scored a touchdown, you can't really do that and expect to win a Super Bowl.
No.
I remember that pass interference that they called. I think it was in the first half of the ball game that really turned the momentum, because you picked up 20, 30 yards on that play and they called you for PI. Do you think it was PI?
It is what it is. It was called. I mean, I got to live with it. I think I've seen push-offs that haven't been called that are a lot worse than that. And I've seen, a lot less that was called. So it is what it is, and just something I got to live with. And, but yeah, it is what it is.
How much do you think about the Super Bowl loss? How much is that fuel for George Kittle to come back to be even better than what he was the previous years? How do you guys get back to that point, and not only get back, win it?
I mean, it is motivation to an extent. It's not something that I think about every single day, because I think if I still thought about it every single day, that'd be kind of unhealthy. But definitely it is a motivation, because, as a kid, all you want to do is play at the highest level. You want to win the Super Bowl and be able to play on it. I was thankful for that opportunity, and I cherish that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, damn straight, I want to get back and I want to win that game. And I think a lot of the guys that are on the team that played in that game will definitely still use it as motivation. But I think at the end of the day, what the Niners have to do is we got to stay healthy, honestly. I mean, we had, I think, 15 plus guys in IR, and you can't really expect to win games when half your starters aren't playing. And, we talked about, best ability is availability. And, we didn't have that this year for a lot of our guys. And so I think that's our biggest thing. If we can stay healthy, I'm very confident, in our defense. I'm very confident in our offense. I'm very confident in our head coach and the way he calls plays and runs his team. So, I think next year will be, a lot different. I know we didn't exceed any expectations this year, but I'm just looking forward to being back, being able to play football again.
So, George, wrap this up for us. The guy who's sitting across from me right now used to play your position. I don't know if you're aware of that. Have you ever seen any old black and white footage of Shannon Sharpe playing tight end?
I'm pretty sure all they have back then was photographs.
Still shots.
No. Are you kidding me? I mean, watching Shannon Sharpe play tight end, it's awesome, because, we still get film of him. Like, I still get that pulled up in some of my meetings sometimes, just finding space, running through people and outrunning people. And it's just, the competitive nature, you really see that just jump off the film, and that's what I love with, Coach Shannon. He always talks about, his favorite thing is the silent tape. And when you watch Shannon Sharpe's silent tape, you can feel his energy coming off. And that's an incredible thing to watch when you're a football player.
That's so
Good answer.
interesting.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah. Oh, love it. George, quickly before you go, who you got for the Super Bowl?
Who do I have for the Super Bowl? See, this is like the hardest one I think ever, because the Chiefs they're an incredible football team. Their defense is, their swagger right now that they're playing with, and their offensive weapons. But like, how do you go against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? Like, I know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just going to be an absolute shootout, but it's hard for me to ever pick against Tom Brady.
Oh, I think Skip's
I
gonna
agree
like
with that. I think it's going to be a shootout also.
All right, George, we so appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
No mercy.
New tracks, new teams, and a new champ. The 2021 NASCAR season starts in just 2 weeks with the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, February 14th, only on Fox. Racing season, couple weeks away. Oh, Shannon's ready for it. He's excited.
You know him as Bubba.
Big NASCAR guys over at the desk. Oh, I like racing. I've always been a fan. It'll be fun to watch this season, guys. Well, how about this? The GOAT, Tom Brady, spoke to reporters during yesterday's virtual edition of Super Bowl opening night, and the ageless wonder made it sound like he wasn't ready to hang up his cleats anytime soon. The 43-year-old QB has been on the record saying he wants to play till age 45, but yesterday he said he'd, quote, definitely consider playing past that point. We're now joined by Hall of Famer and Fox NFL analyst Eric Dickerson. Eric, it is great to see you. And unfortunately, I'm not going to ever let you forget this because you have called Brady an old-ass man. You know, I know that it was before those comments were made, but is he delusional for wanting to play 3 more years?
Well, I'll still say this. He's an old man for football. And all of us know that on the pound. Well, come on, let's be for real. For sure. There's no doubt about that. But you know what? He's playing great football. And the thing is, he plays the quarterback position. This is a totally different position than any position on the field. You can't hit the quarterback, especially you can't hit Tom Brady. There's no doubt about that. But the game has changed so much. I mean, but I think the great thing about Tom Brady is that he can read a defense so fast. I mean, he's like having an offensive coordinator on the field. You know, we always say that players know what's going on the field, and he's that guy that really knows what's going on the field. And they've given him so many more weapons. I mean, he has Mike Evans, he has Chris Godwin, he has Scotty Miller, he has Leonard Fournette. I mean, so they've given him a lot of weapons, and I got to give Tom Brady credit for this. He sacrificed his own pay, you know, to have players around him pretty much his whole career, especially when he became the Tom Brady that we know. But for sure, I think that he could play till he's 45, but I'll say it again. The position that he played, quarterback, most definitely. And, you know, if you ask, I think, any quarterback, I just asked my friend Rodney Pete this last week. I said, Rodney, can you still throw the ball, you know, 50, 60 yards? He said, yeah. But, you know, that arm, it's really their arm strength what it comes down to, you know, and can they take a hit? And Tom, you're not going to hit Tom that much anyway. And his arm strength he'll be able to throw a football 50, 60 yards when he's 65 years old. That's how quarterbacks are. But if he had to run, he's never been mobile. So, you know, we know that. But like I say, he's like having an offensive coordinator on the field. So most definitely can play these 45. But I'll say that to say this. He's still an old man for football, but he's playing great football.
Go ahead, Skip.
So, Eric, when I watched Tom say this live yesterday, I told Shannon it made me laugh out loud at Shannon, but I also thought of you, Eric Dickerson, because both you guys are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I think it just eats at you that this guy is still going strong. He's in the Super Bowl at 43, and he's talking about, hey, maybe I go to 46 or 47, and it eats at you because it's just shattering the mold. It's like it's hard to make peace with it because you guys were forced to. You were 35. Mm-hmm. How old were you, Eric, when you had to stop?
33.
God. Unbelievable, because your position took that out of you. And it still takes it out of you today because you're not like the healthiest guy right now because you have your back issues, and it all came from you died for the cause when you play.
Yep.
Okay? So that's why I think about you guys. I hurt for you guys. But this guy is a one and only because he says, I'm all in. He doesn't really like to do anything else outside of his family except obsess with football. Like Shannon says, Eric, he just got sick and tired of the meetings, the drudgery of it, getting ready mentally for every game. This guy's still on fire with it, and I've never seen anything like it, and I'm not sure we're going to ever see anything quite like it again. I'm not sure.
Well, Skip, I'll say this. Think about this here. Imagine if Tom Brady would have told you that he wants to play till he's 45 or 46 and he was 33 years old. If he'd have said that, then you're like, oh, that sounds crazy.
Well, they would have called him crazy.
Yeah.
But now he's 43 and he's talking about playing to 45, 46. So now it seems feasible. I mean, it would be like if any other player said that, you know, that I want to play till I'm 45 and he says 26, you're like, man, you're not going to play that long. You know, and so Tom Brady's there and he's doing it. So that's what makes it so great. And I think, you know, like I said, he's playing at a high level. You know, he's putting his team at the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl that I don't think anybody thought it. I didn't think it would happen this year. I really didn't. I said his first year, no. I said I think he'll play good football because he's Tom Brady. but I didn't think he'd get in the Super Bowl.
Wait, somebody on Undisputed thought that, but go ahead. That's just
because here's Tom Brady stand.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, you're right, Ed. But if you look at it, even if Tom Brady had said this at 37, Aaron Rodgers is 37. Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers saying, I'm going to play till I'm 45? That's another 8 years. But like Ed says, 2 years from now, that seems realistic because we are, all intents and purposes, I think there's a 95% chance that he comes back and play next year. So that way, unless something cataclysmic happens, hopefully it doesn't, he has one more. But to say 45 when you're in your mid-30s, that's a whole different ball game.
You realize his father, about 5 years ago, was quoted, I think, in the New York Times as saying, they're going to have to put a straitjacket on my son and drag him off the field to make him stop. Okay?
Yeah, he not walking away, Skip.
Okay, but the point is right now, he doesn't even need to think about walking away because I personally, I don't know about you, but I don't see decline. I don't see skills declining. I see him operating at just as high a level as he ever has.
Well, LeBron, you remember LeBron tweeted, I will play, I'm going to jump until the wheels fall off, just like Tom Brady go play football till the wheels fall off. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to drag LeBron. They're going to have to drag Tom Brady up. Because, Skip, now, he doesn't say, well, me and my family, my wife and I will sit down and discuss it. He says, I'll know.
Okay.
Giselle is basically giving up that fight. She said, you know what? I'm going to fight about something else. Maybe we go on a couple of extra vacations in the offseason.
I got that. But there's no shame in the way he performed this year because he threw 40 touchdowns. And he's looking around at a young Mike Evans and a young Chris Godwin and a very young Scotty Miller. I know Gronk is getting to the end of the line, but Cameron Brate's pretty good, and O.J. Howard is going to come back. So is he not set up?
Well, if you see what he did, Skip, as he got later in New England, he transitioned away from being OTAs. So he spent a little bit more time with his family. So that was a give and take. Giselle says, okay, you want to come back and play? Well, I'm going to need more time on vacation with the family. Tom says, oh, I can do that. I'm sure he'll pass that along. Hey, BA, I ain't going to be here for the... It's going to be interesting to see what the COVID protocols, how it goes moving forward. But there's a good chance he's going to be in Monaco or somewhere else on vacation.
He will be. Eric, do you see any decline in Brady's skills?
No, I really don't. I mean, you really don't. I mean, he can throw the ball just like he did 5 years ago. I mean, probably not he did when he was in his 20s for sure, but I mean, no. And like I said earlier, Skip, he's like having an offensive coordinator on the field. He doesn't need help. He doesn't need you to be in his ear to tell you what to do. You know, he's that guy. He knows what to do. When he sees the defense, they're trying to blitz me right now. They're trying to disguise it, but I see it right away. That's the great thing about Tom Brady. And Shannon, I think both of us can attest to this. You know, football is really like it's a kid sport. It really is. It's a game. You know, and you want to play that game as long as you can. And if you can play it at a high level, why stop playing? I mean, I guarantee you, Tom Brady, he loves football. I mean, he loves it just as much as he did the day he started. Especially now, he's back in the Super Bowl where he's been so many times. I mean, why would he want to stop? I mean, he wouldn't want to stop after this year. Look, I went to the Super Bowl. Let's do it again.
I think the thing that it's going to be hard to see if Tom's declining because he has such a plethora of talent around him. ED would have been the equivalent of you being 33 and you had that young Rams offensive line blocking for you. You might have wanted to keep playing till you were 30, 35, 36 when they opened the holes like that. But like you said, but we played different positions. It was a lot more physical. We just couldn't go down. You throw us the ball, we see a guy coming to hit us. We just couldn't fall on the ground, ED. We had to try to run through that.
Yeah, we couldn't slide.
Nah, ain't no sliding. You play any position other than the quarterback.
All right, so Eric, speaking of Brady, they're a 3.5-point underdog to Kansas City, obviously the reigning champ. What shot do you give Brady and the Bucs to win this game Sunday evening?
Oh, man, I give him, you pick him. I mean, it really is because of the guy, Tom Brady, because of him. But Tom Brady makes everyone play that much better. He makes you play at a high level. You know, when he comes on the field, guys that never played with Tom Brady, had seen Tom Brady from a distance, had, you know, heard about Tom Brady when they were kids, and they're on the field playing with him. They don't want to let Tom Brady down. They're like, hey, Tom Brady's here. He's been to, 10 Super Bowls? This is 10th Super Bowl. I want to play great. You know, I think about the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have so many weapons. I mean, they have so much speed on that football team. But you know what? That's why we play the game. You know, you can't say, well, you're going to win it for sure, or this team's going to win it for sure. So I give him. I mean, it's I'll say it's a you pick him. Whoever you like, you take.
You think,
My pick. You want to know what my pick is?
yeah.
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think they have too many weapons. I think they got too much going on over there. I mean, and I got to say, my cousin, he's over there too. So I got to go. That's my main reason for going with it.
Who is that?
Ricky Seals-Jones. He's Kansas City Chiefs.
tight end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, tight end.
Okay. So you going high score, medium score?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it could be like 33-35, 33-30, something like that. Okay. I think it's going to be some scoring in this football game.
Yeah, it's not very often that you beat the Kansas City Chiefs scoring fewer than 30 points. You normally have to get to that number. The thing that concerns me is that they're going to be, Kansas City ED is going to be without 3 starting offensive linemen and 2 upper tackles. And we saw the havoc that JPP and Shaq Barrett wreaked on Aaron Rodgers in the championship game. That's going to be the key. If they can pressure him like they did Aaron Rodgers, it makes Kansas City's job that much tougher. But even if you do pressure him, you still got to hope Mahomes is off because he's so good at throwing off his back foot. He has so much arm strength that he can get the ball even when you're dragging him down. So I believe it's going to be, and if they don't pressure him, I don't see how they beat him. I don't believe Tampa can win a back and forth game, a shootout 35-38, 41-38. I don't believe Tampa can win that type of game. But if they can get pressure on him and neutralize him in the red zone, because that's what they did better than any team in the playoffs. When teams got into the red zone, they made you settle for field goals. They didn't give you touchdowns.
And I do remind you that the Bucs took down Aaron Rodgers 5 times with only 4 rushes.
They did.
Okay?
Yep.
So if you can do that to Mahomes, if they could take him down 5 times, at least get to him and rough him up, they could hang in the game.
Well, that's the only way you have to do it.
They don't have the weapons that Kansas City has. I mean,
No, they do not.
Kansas City has, they're like, you pick your poison over there.
But the question I want to see, I want to know what's the answer for Tyreek. I want to know because
There you go.
he's been hot in the playoffs and he hadn't missed a beat since that game.
There's only one answer. It's JPP and Shaq. That's it. No, that's it. Because they don't have a corner who can run with him.
No.
They don't have a safety.
No.
They have been torchable in the secondary too often this year. And obviously, Tyreek had 203 receiving yards in the first quarter at Tampa.
Especially, Skip, when they don't generate pressure.
Yep.
When they can get pressure, it makes their job. Those DBs play with a lot more confidence. It's going to be interesting because we saw how they did Drew Brees. They were getting pressure. And I don't believe you can press these receivers like you press New Orleans and Green Bay because you missed Tyreek and it's a touchdown.
No mercy.
Well, the Rams are just 2 years removed from making the Super Bowl with Jared Goff and are hoping they can get back next season after agreeing to trade Goff to the Lions for Matthew Stafford. Stafford has never won a playoff game in his 12-year career with Detroit, but his arm talent has always been well respected around the league. So LA figured it was worth parting ways with multiple draft picks to get him. Rams legend Eric Dickerson is still with us. So, Eric, in your opinion, will Stafford be worth the price the Rams had to pay just to get him?
I really believe so. I like Matt Stafford. I liked him in Detroit. I just thought he was in a bad situation for a long time. I mean, I think people, you say he hadn't won a playoff game and, how many games he won, but you got to look where he was. He was in Detroit. I mean, I always think that if I would have been in Detroit my whole career, started in 1983, I would be the same Eric Dickerson. I mean, you got to look at the situation. I think certain players, the situation that they're drafted into, it's not their fault. It can make or break. And in Matt Stafford's case, he was unfortunate enough to be drafted by the Detroit Lions and really had no help. You think about his great receiver that I think should go on, will probably one good day go on a Hall of Fame, Calvin Johnson. He retired because, look, he said, they're not about winning over here. Barry Sanders, the same thing. I mean, so, I don't think it's Matt Stafford's fault, but I really believe that he's the missing ingredient that we need at the Rams. I mean, we had a great defense this year, and I think the quarterback play was not up to, I think, what Sean McVay expected. And I think that, with the Angelinos in Los Angeles expected, because, you want your guy to play well. I wanted Jared Goff to play well, but the last 2 years, let's just be honest, he hasn't played well. And when you're making, $35 million a year, you want a better play out of your quarterback. And I think it would be no different if it was a running back. If you paying that kind of money, you should expect better play out of him. But I really believe that Matt Stafford is the missing piece. And You know, when sometimes you look at a football team and you think, what are they missing? You know, what are they missing 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces? I think for us, when I look at the Rams, I think we missed 2 pieces. I think we need a speed receiver and a real top-notch quarterback. And I like the trade. I think that when you look at giving up draft picks and all that kind of stuff, I'll use myself. The Rams traded me, and they got eight players for me. They got three number ones, 3 number twos, and 2 players. Well, you know, the players really didn't pan out. I mean, I think one of them, Flipper Anderson, probably the best thing that happened for the Rams. Other than that, the rest of them didn't pan out. But you think the Dallas Cowboy trade, you know, when they traded Herschel, they drafted great. They got great players. So it depends on, you know, how you draft. Number 1 draft picks, they don't mean nothing unless you pick the right guy. You can get a guy in the 4th round, 6th round, you know, that can do the same thing. I mean, I think about Tom Brady, 6th round draft pick. You know, Antonio Brown, I think 6th round draft pick. It's a lot. T.O., 3rd round draft pick. It's a lot of players that I think they give up all these picks, these draft picks. Man, draft picks don't mean nothing. Sometimes the people pick and you're like, what are you looking at? So for me, I think he's the missing piece.
I agree. Matthew Stafford is an upgrade over Jared Goff, but that was a steep price to pay for a guy that's going to be 33. And although 33 now, 33 is the new 28 for the quarterback. It used to be once a quarterback got to be 30, Skip, you're like, oh, he on borrowed time now, ED. It's only a couple of more years and he going to be out of the league. But although he hasn't missed a lot of games over the last few years, he has been battered, broken bones in his back. He had rib cartilage, thumb damage, injured finger, separated shoulder, dislocated patella in his knee. And the biggest indictment that you can get against is when your head coach says, we need better play at a particular position. He's talking to you. He didn't say we need better play out of our offense. No. He said we need better play at the quarterback position. Les Snead, the general manager, says he's our quarterback right now. Well, damn, you just gave him a $134 million extension. He should be your quarterback for the foreseeable future. But that's not what they said. And when you start hearing the head coach and you start hearing the general manager who's lockstep, foot to foot, when they start talking about this, I knew this was going to be a matter of time. I said, Jared Goff ain't going to be on that roster next year. So, look, it's a steep price. The only thing, ED, that concerns me about Matt Stafford is that he hadn't beaten good teams. Sometimes if you that dude, Peyton Manning went to Indy. Indy was about to move. They were about to leave Indy. But Peyton Manning was that dude. So if you that dude, you got to beat some of these good teams. He's 10-59 against teams that's made the playoffs. He's 0-3. They had a good situation with Jim Caldwell. They might have been headed in the right direction, but they fired him for Matt Patricia. And see what he got you, Detroit? They'll let your boy get one of them old Ford trucks.
Okay. So what was the last word you said? Detroit, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Say it again, Skip.
Detroit. Stuck in Detroit.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders wanted out of Detroit, so he prematurely said, deuces, I'm gone. And I'm still shocked that he left as quickly as he left.
I don't even think Megatron made it 10 years. Megatron made it, 9?
Okay. So, Eric, I gave this trade an A+ for the Rams. You are the Rambassador. Shannon gave it a C because he thought you still gave up an awful lot, and he's worried about Matthew Stafford's durability going forward. But as Bruce Arians said the other day, he's tough as nails, and his team knows he's tough as nails, and he will play through all that junk that he's been through, and he's been through a whole bunch of junk. Will it be cumulative? Will it start to weigh him down where he starts to regress and decline in skills? I don't see it because he's still early 30s, and he's going to have a rebirth in L.A., and it's just like you talked about Tom in Tampa. The weather is so good here. It feels so healthy here. I think his body will feel a lot healthier here than up in Motor City.
Yeah, and you mentioned he has a better offensive line here.
He does.
So that'll definitely help.
He played 136 straight games without missing a game. He had a broken bone in his back, and still he wanted to play. You know, he wanted to play. I mean, I think McVay can open his playbook up, really open it up. You don't have to worry about, I got to trim it down. You know, I can't make it too difficult. I mean, it's going to be just like Tom Brady. It's going to be like having an offensive coordinator on the field. It's like, I don't have to have you in my ear. I see it right away. I see what you see. I mean, I think that's the great thing about it. You know, we haven't had that. We haven't had that. And right now, I say it's a window. Look, Aaron Rodgers is getting older. I mean,
Aaron Donald,
Aaron Donald's getting older. You know, Jalen Ramsey, he's gonna be a year old. That defense won't stay together forever. So you got to do this right now. I say I like the trade. I like Matt Stafford as a player, and I'll say this: I believe for sure. I mean, I think before he leaves LA, I think he'll win a Super Bowl here in Los Angeles. And winning a Super Bowl in Los Angeles is like, whew. I mean, that's big. That's big.
ED, the thing that I was talking about yesterday, you got Les Snead and Sean McVay. You play poker. They shove all in every hand. I'm like, dude, hold on. This is the first hand. How you shoving it already? So you don't really know if they got the nuts or they just trying to bluff you off your hand. But they shove all in. They went all in on Jared Goff. They went all in on Todd Gurley. They've gone all in on Aaron Donald. They've gone all in on Jalen Ramsey. They go all in. They're like, we're not worried about 2024. We're worried about 2021. And this gives us an opportunity to compete. And yesterday, I think Fox Bet put them at the third best in the NFC. Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams were the third best to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So that just goes to show you that a lot of people think this is a substantial upgrade, Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff.
Well, and one thing, they're serious because they went after Aaron Rodgers also. They called Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers. They said, no, we're not trading him. They called about Deshaun Watson. They wanted two number ones. They wanted two number twos and your two best defensive players. Your two best. So they wanted Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I'm like, we good on that one.
Yeah. So, that's never happening.
Okay, so Eric, look to the north. Your arch rival in the division, San Francisco, is still stuck with their version of Jared Goff, who's Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you guess, do you anticipate that they will fight fire with fire by going into the quarterback market and going after a Deshaun, maybe we heard yesterday, a Kirk Cousins? What's your gut on it?
Yeah, I think they will. They have to, because I think they're like us. They're missing that piece. They have a great defense. They can run the football.
Yep.
And football, Shannon, as you know, and Skip, too. It's on a time limit. You only have a certain amount of time you can win. It's not like the old days when we played. You keep players forever. You might have them 2 or 3 years, 3 years max. No, for sure, maybe 4. That's a quarterback. So for sure, I believe San Francisco would try to go out and get them a top-notch quarterback. I'm hoping they don't get Deshaun Watson. Yes. So if they take Kirk Cousins, I'm good with that.
So would I be.
Well, I don't think San Francisco giving up Nick Bosa, Armstead, or Fred Warner. So you think you'll get 2 or 3, that ain't going to happen.
Okay, but Kyle loves Kirk Cousins because his father was the one who pushed to draft Kirk Cousins and liked him reportedly even more than RG3.
And guess where Kirk Cousins just played? Gary Kubiak. Wearing Gary Kubiak outfit. He learned it on the Kyle Shanahan, which is the West Coast.
Okay.
And
so
Kirk
do you
Cousins
think could Kyle work miracles with Kirk Cousins?
Absolutely. He just threw 33 touchdowns this year, Skip. He had 33 touchdowns, like 10 picks, 11 picks?
I know, when he won a playoff game last year at New Orleans, but I still don't love him with the chips pushed into the middle.
I like him better than Jimmy G.
I'll go with that, especially with Kyle.
I like him better than Jimmy G.
I just wish they're going to keep Jimmy G.
I
know.
I bet you do if they keep Jimmy G. And guess what? Kirk Cousins, he doesn't miss a start. The thing is, Jimmy G can't stay healthy, Skip.
Well,
I mean, I understand injuries are a part of the game. And the ACL, we get that. But the high ankle sprain, it's always something.
Yep.
And if I can't keep you on the field, I mean, bro, I'm paying you $25, $28 million. I need you on the field. And you're not on the field, you're not helping the cause.
Hey, Shannon, let me ask you this question. Yeah. So when you look at the Rams, what do you think we're missing? What pieces?
Well, I definitely thought the quarterback, because far too many times Jared Goff put the ball in harm's way, because he was really trying to give the game away to Tampa. You had that game in control, and he threw 2 horrible interceptions that almost let Tampa get back into the ball game. I can see a speed receiver. You probably should have kept Brandon Cooks, because he was a guy that could take the top off the coverage. Right now, you got a lot of guys. Your offense is basically like the Steelers. A lot of jet sweeps, a lot of, just quick game. Matthew Stafford's going to stress the defense. He's going to push the ball down the field. Right. He can push it down the field with a greater consistency and accuracy than Jared Goff.
I agree, and we do need a speed receiver. I mean, I know in Detroit they have, I think, Kenny Galladay, who I think was injured last year. I mean, I could see him trying to get him on a 1-year deal, possibly. I think he's a free agent. Get him on a 1-year deal because he's like what they call a baby Tron.
Yeah,
we need that. We need that one guy.
So, Eric, I want to congratulate you because now you are light years ahead of my Cowboys that you've got Matthew Stafford. Happy days are here again in Los Angeles.
Dak, y'all striking out. Dak going to get that 40 mil.
No.
Dak about to get 40 mil, ED. And I'm going to get me a bed, too. He's going to send me one of them old nice beds he be advertising.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that your commission for helping with the deal, Shannon? Okay, that's interesting. Edie, we appreciate your time. All eyes will be on the Rams, of course, and Matt Stafford next season. Looking forward to it. Tom Brady is preparing for his 10th Super Bowl, but his first since leaving New England this past offseason. When asked about his relationship with former coach Bill Belichick, Brady said, quote, "I have a great relationship with him. I'm just incredibly grateful for what he's meant in my life as a coach. He was everything you could ask for as a player." So, Shannon, are you surprised by these quotes from Tom Brady?
You know, the one thing that Tom Brady knows, having been in this position so many times before, is that with all the media, even though it's not like it normally would be, Skip, but they're on this virtual call. And the last thing he wants to do to make it about something other than the game itself.
Agreed.
He knows anything that he says about Coach Belichick, now all of a sudden that trumps the Super Bowl. That trumps his preparation for the Super Bowl. So for me, he's like, we had a great relationship. They had a great player-coach relationship. Let me take that back. They had a great working relationship. That's the extent of their relationship, and I don't have a problem with that. But this notion that, oh, yeah, we were cool, because that's not what the reports that we got coming out of there from time to time, is that he wondered why he didn't have a better relationship other than player-coach relationship with Coach Belichick. So Tom Brady, look, Tom Brady is the master of moving his mouth and saying absolutely nothing. We've come to expect that from him. So I didn't expect him to give, it wouldn't be bulletin board, but I didn't expect him to give any fodder to anything that all of a sudden Tom Brady, if he'd have, it was okay. He knows anything that he says other than we had a great working relationship was going to be the news of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden we're not talking about Kansas City, Tampa. We're talking about Tom Brady's relationship with Coach Belichick.
I got it. Quick aside before I unleash on this topic. You used the word Trump, lowercase t, as in tops this, right? As a synonym for tops. and I want to use it sometimes on the show, and I just bite my lip because now that word has such negative connotations that people... What do you say?
It does.
It trumps the... Well, how do you mean that? Right? Okay.
Yes.
So when you said it, I was like, oh, whoa. But it's still... The word works.
Right.
With the lowercase t.
Lowercase.
Okay, got it. I believe that Tom believes everything he said yesterday about Bill Belichick. He's not just... He's not telling you the rest of the story.
Right.
Because I do believe he is... completely, he says, incredible coach, mentor, and that he's incredibly grateful for everything he learned from Bill Belichick.
I believe that.
He is. He's smart. He gets it. He was blessed to be able to learn under him for a couple of years until Belichick started to grate on him, just the way he grates on everybody else. And remember, Matthew Stafford reportedly said, there's only one place I won't go, and it's that place.
Right.
Because for 19 years, it feels to me like Tom Brady had to win in spite of Bill Belichick. He benefited, obviously, as you talked about, from the defenses that have been routinely top 10 kind of defense, sometimes top 5. He definitely benefited from a masterpiece of a master plan against the greatest show on turf in the first Super Bowl. So I'm going to give you that one. But in general... Brady spent 19 years having to be the good cop in the locker room saying, it's okay, swallow it, just ignore it. It's just the way he is, because Belichick can be just an incredibly sour tyrant, dictatorial, and he was getting away with being an old school coach in a new era when Shannon Sharpe's going to say no to that. Because
he was winning, Skip. It is hard. People don't understand. Yeah, you can love your job. Tom Brady loves his job, but that doesn't necessarily mean I got to love my boss because he makes my job. I love the job, but I just hate seeing you while I'm on the job.
That is correct.
And Coach, this is what I think the biggest thing is that Tom Brady says, yes, I'm grateful for Coach Belichick, but he damn sure better be grateful for Tom Brady, too. And I don't think that gets enough. He says, oh, Tom, he did this for Tom. He did that for Tom. Tom was like, well, what the hell I do for him? Do you know what he was in Cleveland before me? Do you know what he was in New England before me? So how about I get some credit? You keep talking about what he did for me. What the hell did I do for him?
Yep. Okay. So when Tom said, I have a great relationship with him.
Yeah, I'm here, you're there.
No, I'm not going that far. If they happen to run into each other in public, would they shake hands? Yeah, they'd shake hands.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Would
Hey,
they might even give a quick little hug?
Yeah, how
like
you
a
doing?
little
How you
half
doing?
hug?
How you doing, Tom? How's Giselle? Yeah, okay, Coach, how's Linda? Yeah, the
Yeah,
family good.
that kind of thing.
I see you.
Yeah, I'll see.
You make me sick.
Okay, because this whole week for Tom Brady is about Belichick. Deep down, he is driven to show that he was wrong to push Tom out.
We got a great relationship. Our relationship's so great. I'm here. He's not. How that working? Hey, you were right, Coach. I couldn't play anymore. I couldn't play for you no more. You had all these shopping for the groceries. They ain't restocked the shelves in months, and wonder why I was looking like I was looking.
So Brady's game plan going into every Super Bowl is to try to say as little as possible.
Yes.
Don't distract from the team goal.
Correct.
He's all about the team goal, and all that matters is winning the Super Bowl, because if you win it, it speaks for itself.
Yes.
He doesn't need to rub it in. He doesn't need to take his verbal pound of flesh from Belichick during the week or after the game.
But sports might be the only sports might be the only time that people ask you, what's your relationship like with your ex?
Yep.
But what's your relationship? Bro, we broke up. That's the relationship like. We broke up.
Yep. So I have argued with you for 4 years on this show, going on 5, that Brady was 75% of the reason for the dynasty.
Yes.
I'm now starting to think it was more like 80 or 85%.
Before he win the Super Bowl, you're going to have it 90-10.
I might have it 9-10. And I think it's worth listening one more time to Danny Amendola yesterday on First Things First, ahead of, obviously, Undisputed, because he unloaded on Belichick, if we could hear it.
Do you think it's going to be harder for Belichick to get them to buy in when Tom's not there and they haven't all experienced the deep playoff runs?
Well, first things first, and when you see Patriot Way in the dictionary, it's going to have Tom Brady's name next to it. None of those coaches threw any passes. None of those coaches caught any passes. None of those coaches made any tackles. They got guys in the right position because they watch a lot of film and they spend all their time at the facility. But Tom Brady is the Patriot way, and that's the reason why Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl right now, and the Patriots aren't.
That little angry, Skip.
He's a little angry, but I think he spoke it straight.
Oh, he spoke
from
it
the heart.
straight. Yeah. Oh, no question.
Now,
He told the truth because, like I said, he's a little angry.
That is correct. Danny Amendola loves Tom Brady.
Yes.
He caught a lot of big clutch passes. He was as clutch a receiver. He might have been beyond Edelman for making big clutch catches.
He might have caught the game winner against Seattle. I thought he might have caught the option route.
Okay, he did. He could throw it and he could catch it. So the point is, that was stored up in him. He had planned to say that, obviously. That wasn't off the top of his head. That was he had already decided to say, well, first things first.
He was hoping that they ask him this question.
Something that remotely would allow him to answer it this way. And so he unleashed on Belichick because he believes that Tom set the culture.
Right.
That Tom sort of invented, created, and furthered the Patriot way in New England more than anybody on the coaching staff did, especially the head coach.
Right.
So he got run out of town, too, by Bill Belichick.
After they made him take year and year of pay cut after pay cut after pay cut, he's like, nah, I'm gone now. I ain't taking no more pay cuts.
I'm done. So in the end, I told you that Brady said, okay, I'll take my football and go elsewhere. And I'll go to Tampa because they're loaded, but they went 7-9, and they're just in need of leadership. They need somebody to show them how to do it. I'm going to show them on the fly with virtual OTAs and no preseason games, and maybe we can get it together quickly enough just in time for the playoff run. And they had December to remember because he brought them to a boil, and he has created Patriot Way in Tampa Bay.
Right.
And it's a joy for me to watch it because it shows you that Brady was the architect of it because he just transferred what he created in New England to Tampa.
Yeah, Skip, you can have, look, even military, everybody has a ethos, a creed, or code in which they follow. But if you don't have strong people that's underneath to protect that ethos or that code or that creed, to implement it. That's what Tom Brady. Now, Coach Belichick might have wrote it on the way, do your job, and 1, 2, do your job, and this is be time, and put team first. All that's fine and good. It's great written on the paper or the blackboard or however you got it wrote. But if you don't have a guy in there that can implement that and says, okay, guys, this is how it needs to be, and it needs to be your best player. If you can get that guy, they'll follow him to the moon and back.
All right. Which is why I believe Bill Belichick is getting exposed, not so much as a coach, but as a team builder, because he buys the groceries, right?
Right.
He's bought lousy groceries, and Tom Brady made them taste a little better than they deserve to taste.
Well, Skip, it was working, but now you can't get away with that. It's kind of like college football. You remember how Coach Saban used to we're going to run the football, we're going to play lights out defense. Well, the teams that wasn't playing lights out defense, they was hanging 50 and 60 points on his defense with an offense. So what he did is, okay, y'all want to play it like this?
Okay,
let me hit.
Yep.
I'm going to go get me some guys that can throw it and catch it.
Okay.
And we'll be okay on defense, but we're going to average 50 on offense, and I'm going to win me another national title. Coach Belichick's going to have to change his way of thinking. The days of you saying, I'm going to shut somebody down and hold them to 10, 12 points, ain't happening.
Nope.
No mercy. Well, the Clippers are set to play the Nets tonight in a battle of two teams who are finding their groove. LA sits atop the Western Conference with a 16-5 record, while Brooklyn is 7-3 in their last 10 games. So, Shannon, is this an NBA Finals preview?
No, and I'm taking the Clippers tonight, too.
Are you?
Yeah. The Nets can't stop a car with no wheels on it. They ain't stopping nothing, Skip.
Really?
Now, I get it. They get James Harden back. They go score. They're efficient scoring. But, these are the two of the top three teams as far as offensively. Clippers are number 3. Hard to believe that. But they're making
Hard
a lot
to believe.
Well, they're making
leading
threes.
in three-point shooting.
Brooklyn's number 2. But Clippers are 12th defensively, and the Brooklyn is 27th since the trade. So I'm taking the Clippers, but it ain't no... Hold on. Is the Lakers playing tonight? They just played last night.
Wait, you mean the Staples sideshow that is now the Lakers?
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
This is the NBA Finals preview. Come one, come all. To watch the best defensive team in the NBA, the Clippers, versus maybe the greatest offensive team in the history of the league, the Nets.
Who's the best defensive team in the NBA right now, currently, as we speak?
Well, statistically, or are we doing it on performance?
We're on performance.
On eye test.
On eye test.
Yeah, I'll take the Clippers.
Oh, really, Skip?
Watch. Guess what? Guess who's favored tonight? The Clippers by a 1.5 because they can lock you up and lock you down.
They can't lock nothing up.
Yes,
Skip, they're 12th and defensively
Well,
ranked.
that's because they haven't had all their guys healthy. Patrick Beverley.
You do that every year, so how long you going to do that?
It's their turn and their time. Ty Lue is the early front runner for Coach of the Year. He has transformed them on offense. The ball is moving. They will be able to score with the Nets.
Hold on, we're not in grade school. We don't take turns here. Oh, it's Jennifer's turns now. No, it's Mark's turn. No, we move to the head of the line and we stay in there.
Really?
Yes.
Are
don't take no turns.
You're starting to feel jealous that you're just off to the side now?
We don't take turns. It is my turn to wrap this thing up. Great stuff today, guys. We're back same time tomorrow morning as we continue to preview all things Super Bowl. Have a great day, guys.
Undisputed.